Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to record this video yesterday, but I wanted, I decided to just wait it out for a little bit and just see how everybody reacts on the internet. So the genocidal state of Israel has finally decided to start attacking Iran. You got different opinion on that. You got mixed emotion going on right now. America has been, more divided than ever before. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to direct your energy. I'm here to direct that hatred that you have in your heart toward the person that deserves it. And so with that being said, I just want to go ahead and remind you guys. As you can see, let me move this real quick. Alrighty, so by the title of the video, from World War III to McDonald's to ice cream machine. Obviously, I'm not going to go ahead and react to the whole entire podcast because it's 51 minutes long. But there's a little short 80-bay section in this video that I want to react to. And I want you to understand that everything that's going on today is not by accident. The war that just started, guess what? People are saying, well, America didn't know about it. America didn't know that the Netanyahu was going to attack. They knew it was going to happen. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and react to this so that way you can understand exactly who is in full control here.
Well, it's riot season again, folks. And as usual, LA is burning. But this year, I don't think it's a fad. I think it's the feds. And I think they have a bigger game to play than the usual temporary distraction and division to stoke hatred between the left and the right. I think there's a bigger game afoot this time. Because this time, they are manufacturing consent. And in many ways, they are manufacturing consent for what may turn out to be the biggest operation of our lifetimes. We are about to pass a point of technological no return.
People really ask the question, oh, we need to get rid of this migrant. We need to get rid of this migrant. How did the migrants get here? If you give people the opportunity to get a better life, they will take that opportunity. When Joe Biden was in office and he left the borders open, you got people coming from Asia all the way to the border to make their way into the United States of America. That's what your president did.
And depending on who crosses that line first, it'll wind up shaping global events for the rest of our lives and beyond. It is an awful convenient coincidence that Palantir gets their home team in the White House, and then they immediately form a partnership to integrate their technology into all government databases just as these riots break out in LA. This is some serious 4D chess, and I tend to be pretty resistant to conspiracy theories that involve such broad and all-encompassing plots, but it's hard to come to terms with all of these coincidences. So today, I figured we'll just get out the heavy-duty tinfoil and turn the microwave on to full blast because the conspiracy theorists have been right so many times at this point, I'm not sure how else to explain what's happening. Because what's happening is they have this great new AI super surveillance technology that they really want to deploy on the peasants. But these pesky Americans are always so concerned with their rights and their freedom. How on earth are they going to get everyone to accept Palantir-flavored digital oppression? Well, have you considered not deploying digital mass surveillance technology in the land of the free? Yeah, that's a hard no. Because you really can't float the 15-minute cities thing that they've got planned without the surveillance stuff. And plus, there's really not enough to go around for all the peasants once you account for the oligarchs' private islands and yachts and McMansions on the coast. So they're gonna need some sort of crowd control because honestly, wealth has never been less equally distributed in the history of humanity. And it's pretty dang cool for all the kid diddlers and private jet owners. So, anyways, they need the peasants to get down with the mass digital surveillance. You're going to let Peter Thiel watch you pee, and you're going to like it. In fact, it's going to be your idea. You're going to ask for it. Maybe not you specifically, but you get what I mean. So how are they going to get regular people to ask to have their rights and privacy taken away? Well, the same way that they sell the public on all the rest of the worst ideas of the last 100 years. Obviously, create a problem and let it get so bad that you beg for a solution. Oh, look, illegal immigrants. Pay no attention to how they got here, who let them in, or all the perfectly workable solutions that we already have for this problem. Have you tried Palantir? It's totally safe and effective, only ever used to target terrorists. Oh, wait, that was the Patriot Act. Only ever used to target illegal immigrants. Trust them. They would never use it on regular American citizens. Promise. They're the deep state. They would never lie to you. Except for that one time when they sort of manufactured a bioweapon and then it just so happened to escape from their lab in an election year, which kind of forced the whole country to do paper ballots. Or that other time when, for the first and only time in history, minor structural damage and fires caused two of the biggest skyscrapers in the world to collapse.
All right, now we're getting to the juicy parts. And so the reason I wanted to let the Palantir section play out, because I want you to understand that the American people are waking up. And so the fact that we are now waking up, they are not going to put more and more boots on the neck of Americans. So the fact that people are waking up to the genocidal states in the Middle East, even though they just started striking Iran, guess what? Things are going to get out of control. The embassy is getting surrounded. They're barricading the embassy as we speak because they understand the Israeli embassy is being barricaded as we speak because they know that people are literally about to go all out
into their own footprints and pulverize all of their concrete on the way down. But they figured they better clear all the wreckage away immediately before any investigation could take place because they knew that it was just too emotional for Americans to see all that evidence. Trauma for even one extra second. It's a good thing their Israeli buddies managed to pass off the video camera they were using to, quote, document the attacks before they got caught by police, because it would have been pretty awkward if they'd been caught with explosive residue in their van, cameras full of photos celebrating before, during, and after the attack, and video footage with audio of those idiots giving away the whole plan. So here's just a short clip to wet your whistle if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about.
It began when this woman was watching the Twin Towers burning from her apartment in New Jersey. She noticed three men on top of a van, posing for pictures with the towers burning in the background.
And I could see that they were like happy. You know, they didn't look shocked to me. You know, they didn't look shocked. I thought it was very strange.
The witness called police, the van, hours later, and arrested 5 men. All 5, it turns out, were Israeli. They were turned over to the FBI. Sources tell ABC News during a check of national security databases, some of the men were listed as having had connections with Israeli intelligence. At the FBI, that set off alarm bells. The FBI needed the answers to 3 important questions. Who were these men? What brought them to that parking lot on the morning of September 11th? And did they have any advance knowledge of what was going to happen that day? They said they worked for a company called Urban Moving. The FBI obtained a search warrant for the company's offices.
2 SUVs were filled up with between 9 and 12 boxes and computers.
Not long after the arrests, the offices of Urban Moving were simply abandoned. Almost everything was left behind.
Weird. Then, later, after being held for a long time, all those Israelis that were being investigated got deported. And once they got deported to Israel, they had the bright idea to go on Israeli TV and say this out loud to the whole world.
And before we continue, so after this whole incident that happened in September, right, America got dragged into a 20-year war where innocent people died on both sides, both innocent and non-innocent. The Americans had no idea that this was all orchestrated by a foreign state. And so they had the bright idea of, hey, we need to invade Afghanistan. And so people being so passionate about the country, people being so angry simultaneously about the fact that 2 twin towers just collapsed, killing over 3,000 people. Of course, they wanted revenge. They wanted to see an action. They wanted something to happen. And so that's what led to the 20-year war in Afghanistan. And who benefited from that? Who benefited from that? Because if I go to other states in America, people are literally overdosing on drugs. People are sleeping outside. Homes are far more expensive than ever today. Interest is at all-time high. People cannot afford the basic means of living. 20-year war for what? And above that, it literally just put Americans into more debt. But it benefited a certain group of people. That certain group of people, in fact, their prime minister literally came out himself and said that 9/11 was the best thing that has ever happened to Israel. They had to scrap that off the internet. Why? Because that doesn't sound so good. But if you don't believe what I'm saying, listen to exactly what these guys have to say on their television. They are literally mocking you. And guess what? They're about to do it again because your president is getting ready to take these young people back into another war with Iraq. This one is going to be different. This one's going to be different because the country that you are about to go against has over 90 million people, for one. Two, they have millions of soldiers. They have sophisticated weapons as well. Israel cannot take down Iran by themselves. They can't do it. They need the help of Americans. And guess how they're going to do that? Right now, the public opinion toward Israel is at all-time low. They understand that. America does not want to be dragged into this war. So you know what they're going to do? Mark my word. They are going to do a false flag attack on American soldiers and blame it on Iran so America can be dragged into the war. If you don't believe me, watch.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
Our purpose was to document the event. So they knew ahead of time. They knew ahead of time. For over 20 years, Muslims have been getting bombed for something that they didn't do. How did they know the planes were going to hit the Twin Tower? That seems like a damn coincidence. That's like, man, that has never happened in the history of mankind where they just happen to have a recording device planted at an area where a plane just magically comes out of nowhere and then just hit two. You get what I'm saying, right? But no. Stay in your bubble. It was the Muslims' fault. Muslims were the reason why the Twin Towers came down.
Our purpose was to document the event. Man, you'd think that America would have wanted some answers. But honestly, the masses are easy to control. They managed to parlay the fallout from 9/11 into 2 official wars and Lord knows how many covert ones around the globe. Plus, they did a little opioid epidemic on the side. You see, it's always more than one game at a time because there's always more than one set of evil interests working together to make these plans possible. Like the Kennedy assassination, for example. It's so confusing and has confounded so many for so long because so many powerful and evil people wanted him dead, and they mostly all played a role. The CIA saw him rightly as an existential threat. Dulles just hated him personally. The oil tycoon's profits were in jeopardy. Israel's nuclear and lobbying programs were threatened. The mob and mafia were double-crossed by him, and his brother Bobby was coming for him. LBJ was likely going to prison if he didn't do something fast, and honestly, it's harder to find people that didn't want Jack dead than people that did. And they all played small and large roles contributing to that plot. That's how the biggest capital C conspiracies go.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there, but I'm sure you got the whole message behind exactly what I'm trying to say. It's not new. They've done it in the past, and now they're doing it again. But today is different. Okay? Today is different because I've seen polls. The majority of Americans do not favor Israel anymore. The majority of Americans are saying, we don't want anything to do with this state. They're rogue. They're genocidal, and they feel like they have the right to do anything and everything that they want. But after the assassination of JFK, I truly believe that he was the last standing president that was getting ready to topple the state down. And so they got rid of him. I can be proven wrong. Donald Trump can come and say, no, he wasn't the last because I'm going to be the last. Anyways, this video has become, is very, very long. I just wanted you to, to understand that if World War III does decide to finally take off, the only way it'll actually take off is if America steps in. But based off my prediction, I can probably guarantee you that's how it's gonna happen because America had no interest in Afghanistan. America had no interest in Afghanistan. So they had to come up with a level like what happened in Pearl Harbor. They had to create another Pearl Harbor. And so what was the best option? Hey, let's take down the Twin Towers, blame it on the Muslims, and then boom, there you go. We just set off a 20-year war to topple the government in that area so that way Israel can be safe. No. But the Israelis are not the aggressors. They are the peacemakers. They're the one that's trying to live in peace. How are you the peacemaker in that area? Because for some reason, ever since you established your state in that place, it has been nothing but chaos. It has been war. War after war, toppling government. I mean, if you put 2 and 2 together, you gotta be asleep to not realize that you were the aggressors. So please, Americans, you guys can still stop this. Your government have been bought off. They've been bought off. We know that. The majority of the people in Congress, they work for Israel. They don't work for you. Except for Thomas Massey. Actually, I like that guy. He's really cool. Anyways, I hope you know who to direct your anger to now. Because all this stuff that's happening in America, it's not by accident. All the immigrants that flood into America, clearly we know that wasn't by accident. Palantir being introduced to the public, obviously that's not by accident. You got people on X who claim to be America first are literally saying, hey, guess what? If we surveil the citizens, it's going to be good. Because now we can see who the bad people are. They're going to give you all these word jargons. Don't buy into it. Because it's bullshit. They're trying to use it to literally track everything that you do. If you hate China, guess what? This is going to be China 2.0 if you let Palantir come in. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know that. You guys like to say that China's bad. China like to surveil their civilians. Guess what? They're literally getting ready to do the same exact thing to you. Anyways, I hope you learned something new. And later.